All right, we're live on Extremely.live. Check it out. We got all kinds of good stuff playing this week. I'm here with Hero of Bitcoin, the one and only Hero of Bitcoin. I've been, I think I first ran into you kind of just lurking on the Orange Pill Telegram group. I think that's where I've discovered you. But yeah, like early on, you followed me back, which I appreciate. And I'm excited to have you here because two of my main interests lately have been, Bitcoin, obviously, but indie game development. I've been following tons of indie game developers. I think the entire indie game movement is just so cool. I've dabbled myself. I've got to get back to my Unity project. I'm an aspiring someday game dev. So that's part of the reason why I'm excited to talk to you, because you're actually doing it, man. I'm very excited. You're working on a project called Hero of Bitcoin, and the cool part about it is it's going to be a physical Gameboy game, right? Is that correct?
Yep.
That is very, very awesome. So let's just start with who you are, if as much as you want to get into it. How did you find your way to Bitcoin? Because I find that the people who get it are oftentimes a little bit different outside the mainstream, let's say. So let's hear a little bit of your story if you're willing to share.
That's so true, hey. You have to be a bit of a unique thinker in person to understand all there is to Bitcoin. But my story started, I had absolutely no financial experience. I've never invested in anything before. And back in 2017, I heard about Bitcoin and stuff on the news and whatever, but didn't think too much of it. Just thought, maybe it's like sort of a scam sort of thing, And anyway, I was a little bit interested just to see what it was all about. And there was someone at my work who was into it, but he was into the shitcoin space too.
Of course.
And that's what I originally went into. I went into everything. I actually first bought Bitcoin, but then as time went by, I started to delve into the bottom of the barrel.
Everyone does it. Literally everyone is the same.
But it's a great learning experience, So, anyway. So, so it took me a little while to understand. At first, I was, when I first, went into Bitcoin, I was like, it's too slow, and you hear all the FUD, and you don't read into it. You don't have the time, obviously. You slowly delve deep into all that sort of stuff, but it's very hard to navigate at the start,
Mm-hmm.
And so I totally understand where it takes a lot of time for people to get to Bitcoin. I hope that everyone eventually gets to just Bitcoin,
Yeah.
But so my story, I just got fully into it. I was just every day sort of obsessing over watching YouTube videos and listening to, my favorite people, And I think it was just a couple of people that those Bitcoin only people that I was just like, why is Bitcoin only? I don't see, I always see when they become a Bitcoin only, that's it. They sort of just stay there. It's very rare for anyone to go back to the shitcoins.
Yeah.
And I just thought and so I just sort of just delved into that, just sort of listening to a lot of those people. And,
who are your people?
Yeah.
Who turned you on to it?
I think the main people that kept bringing me back, because there was a couple of times I was like, Bitcoin, then I'd come back, back in the, 2009 up until 2019. Early 2020 was when I went full on. I sort of knew I had to, but I just went full on. That was when I was like 100%,
Yeah.
But it was mostly like Max Kaiser, and Stacy Herbert, and also Mark Moss and Greg Foss. All those, there's heaps of them. Like honestly, I just
totally.
I got so many. I'm a bit of a fanboy when it comes to Bitcoiners now. So
Yeah.
big guys. So.
Totally. Yeah, those were big ones for me as well as Robert Breedlove, just understanding money in general was his
Oh yes.
What is Money series was really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, those people are key to, like, I don't know, they have such conviction, and they present the arguments in a way that are easy to understand, and they're gems to the space for sure. And
Yeah.
Foss is always fun to just listen rant about anything.
Yeah.
I want to do a Foss impression. Like, it's just like, listen guys, high school math, get it through your fucking head. Like, he's got those like he's got like catchphrases.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's funny. Very cool. So you similarly, I had friends who were. I had heard about Bitcoin early on, and my initial reaction was, "Oh, cool!" But then realizing how difficult it was to, like, get all that, just get it, like, even custodying your own Bitcoin, like, all that stuff was so much more difficult than it is now. And I just was like, yeah, whatever. I'm not bothering. Huge mistake.
I just love how many aspects there are. Like, you just never, like, you can never stop learning. And everyone has a different take, and everyone, like, there's just, obviously, and then you experience things like the FTX crash and all that sort of stuff. I went through quite a few, and then you realize self custody is the way, and all those things. So
totally, yeah. It's it doesn't. Oops, I'm just reading. Someone's posting something there. No, sorry.
it doesn't connect.
Yeah, I don't know what that means for the show. Interesting. Anyway, I'm still recording here, so we're good. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, these people are, like, very key in the space. I think that's why, like, I think the reason why you, like you said, become a fanboy or whatever is, like, there's no one else is, like, talking about this stuff in a way that makes any sense. Like the mainstream, like, MSNBC or C-SPAN, not C-SPAN, but like financial, media is, like, so, I don't know. It has nothing to do with the regular person. And then the more you, like, hear from these outside voices, you realize how ridiculous it all is. Like, with, like, the number one economist in America is this Paul Krugman guy who's like, well, they should print $1 million coin or $1 trillion coin and pay off the U.S. debt. It's like, once you realize how ridiculous that sounds, it's hard to take any of that stuff seriously. And the fact that there's these people out there, pointing out the ridiculousness of all of it, it's a nice dose of, like, sanity in an insane world where you can kind of, it's just like, yeah, it's like almost like a relief, a thankfulness to be like, thank you. You are making actual sense when so much makes so little sense. And yeah, I too have my my Bitcoin heroes, as it were. That's cool. So let's transition to your game here, because one of the things I want to compliment you on is your pixel art portraits are really, really good. I'm very impressed with you being able to capture, like Max and Stacy are particularly good. I really like, you kind of give, like, Max, like, that crazy energy he has, which is good. And then Stacy has the kind energy to tame down Max. And your Bekele's great. Your Sailor's great. So you got a lot of good stuff going on there. So is it a one man show, your game?
Yeah, it's a one-man show. My pixel art, like, I always find pixel art interesting because you're trying to find uniqueness in such small amount of detail. Like, you've got, like, Game Boy sprites that I'm using are like 8 pixels by 16 pixels. So, and the head is much smaller. It's like miniature. So, getting those characters is kind of fun. Find those characteristics.
Yeah, totally.
I was surprised myself, actually, how much detail, because I've been doing some little competitions on my Twitter and just people guessing who it is, but straight away people get it, and I'm like, oh crap, maybe
You're too good.
yeah.
Are you are you an artist? Like what's your a lot of indie devs kind of have like their their main thing that they were going into their first game project, Like a lot of people are programmers and they ended up doing their own art and their own music, or people are artists and they end up doing coding tutorials and trying to make their own thing with their art being their main focus. What was your main thing, and what skills did you have to build out?
Well, actually, I probably should just go into a bit more about myself. I
Yeah,
was
sure.
originally, it will lead into it anyway. I was originally, I am originally a multimedia developer. So I do graphics, video, animation, you name it. I sort of master of none, but I just do everything. And so, yeah, I was just, thinking about what can I do to contribute, because I'm not actually a very good programmer. But I really love pixel art, and I used to do it actually as a kid. I used to, when Photoshop was really young, I used to change the pixels of like screenshots of games, and like make new Pokemon and things like that sort of thing, using pixel art. And then so I just thought, pixel art is such a beautiful thing that really captures, the millennial generation, all the gaming generation, and it's perfect for, I think, for an image of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is all that blocks and all that sort of stuff. So and I love the simplicity of it, and simplicity, and also it's so robust. Like the cartridges I've got, and I'm a big collector of games, cartridge games especially, and they just never die. Like I have like 100 games, and none of them, like all of them work.
Yeah.
So I thought, how can I thought maybe I can capture culture, So first of all, I started doing pixel art, and I dabbled in a website called Retoshi, and I've done some pretty big art pieces. Actually, there's one behind me.
Oh, cool.
Up there with
Bukele.
over the IMF building, I think it is. But, yeah, I'll move the street to the camera here, which people
That's great.
won't be able to see, but yeah. So anyway, he's
looming over the evil IMF.
he's coming for them, I'm gonna try and eventually give that to Bukele someday, but
That's awesome.
we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so I was doing pixel art and experimented in a couple of things, and then I looked into thinking, how can I translate this into something bigger? Because I didn't want to do that only. I wanted to be recognized for something unique, something that no one else has done. I think that's so important, because when Bitcoin is, I try to think of Bitcoin as like a new beginning. We're starting again from the monetary system, so let's start again on everything. And you can see that everyone that's doing anything new, people are, they're getting known for it and sort of getting a bit popular for it. So now is the time, really. They say for building, it's and this for building anything, not just programming. So, but anyway, I went into decided to do Game Boy, because not only do I love Game Boys, I got all the different types of Game Boys here. So I got my old DMG, the original Game Boy here.
That was my first system.
Just got my game in there.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah. So, and the good thing about developing for a, was it 30 plus maybe year old console, is that there's a lot of tools out there where you don't need to be like a super programmer to do it. So, which is perfect for me. And so I'm using a bunch of different programs. It is quite complicated still. You've got to work with like the tiling of, because of the lack of space in cartridges and the amount of RAM and all that sort of stuff. And you only got 4 colors to choose from. And so you've only got a certain amount of unique 8x8 pixel tiles.
Right.
So you got to map them out on the screen, and yeah. So it's a lot of fun, like it's like I'm living my childhood, so I'm just nostalgic while I'm making this thing. It's so fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, the original Game Boy was my very first video game system. It holds a special place in my heart. Original Tetris, even like the music in that was
Oh yeah,
just so
love
good.
it.
There's so many
Well,
good Game
actually,
Boy games.
I'm talking to someone at the moment, and I'm considering doing a a Hero Bitcoin themed Game Boy.
Oh,
So it'll be
cool.
custom made, custom skinned. I'm considering the original Game Boy, maybe Game Boy Color or SP or something. So
Right.
we'll see. Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah, I follow a couple Game Boy modders on Instagram. There's some really cool stuff out there.
Well, a Bitcoiner who does it contacted me, and I was actually
Ah,
looking elsewhere, but I was like, oh, awesome, a
yeah.
Bitcoiner.
Keep it in the family.
That's it.
No, it's so true, man. Like, I I uh, I think now is, like you say, now is the time to start making stuff that is involves Bitcoin or is inspired by Bitcoin or just create. I think we need more cultural artifacts out there that are in that, even if it's not directly about it, like in the ethos of, in the spirit of Bitcoin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
And it's all about awareness too, like
yeah.
everything helps,
Totally,
you know.
totally. Like the past few years, it's become clear that like memes are very powerful, and media is very powerful, and imagery, and we just need to make more of it. We need to make cool things that people want to use and mess with. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're taking charge and going for it, because I really do think it's important. It can't all just be, financial guys who used to be into the Wall Street and are now into Bitcoin. Like
Yeah.
there's got to be artistic people doing cool things that inspire people. And
That's right, and it makes them much more welcoming too. And like you can just imagine a new person coming to the space, and all they see is people yelling at each other and getting angry or whatnot. But then you need some little soft, plushy things around the place and soften things up. You know what I mean? So
Totally.
yeah,
Like there's that the little Bitcoiner or something, or what is it called? The comic that woman makes. Like
yes.
there's a handful of stuff, and it's good, but we need way, way, way more. Like I want to see, and we need, like, I would love, because I think that's how you kind of bleed into, because if there's a bunch of like Bitcoiner game devs, I after I tweeted about this, I got followed by another guy who's working on something. I think he might know you. Um, but if you have these people in the space, I think indie game development is it like, imagine an itch.io where you're like paying people in Bitcoin for these games. You know what I mean? Like some kind of like, just having it more integrated into the indie game space. Like it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that like these indie games aren't throwing up a QR code to their Lightning wallet in their games, being like, hey, if you liked it, throw me some sats. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
it's just right. It's like one more step. We just have to make people aware that there's this world out there that they can tap into and be part of.
Yeah.
And I think
Like I just joined Noster properly. Like I was joined a while ago, but I just sort of started using it properly because I found a better app for it because I'm on Android. And it was just the amount of sats I just randomly get from people. Like,
that's sick.
it's
Totally
pretty cool. Like, yeah, everyone's so nice.
Yeah, exactly. I fired it up. I set up a profile a couple weeks ago. I haven't used it a ton, but immediately when I like got on there, people were like, "Oh, welcome! Come hang out or whatever." I was like, "Oh, I can just send them like 10 sats." Like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I? And I just like shooting it off at people. Like, it's awesome. Like, just the idea of being able to send less than a penny to somebody, but it's still like it's some kind of value
sort of thing.
Yeah, but it's also like there's something very powerful about
The other
that.
side of the world. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, and there's I don't think creative people are aware of the power of this quite yet, of just being able to, like, set something up to receive lightning payments and just close your eyes and then wake up the next day and you've got money in your wallet because someone found your thing and they thought it was awesome. I mean, and no one in between taking a cut. Like, that's the other thing, is like everyone's so used to like having some kind of a publisher in between them taking 10%, or a manager or an agent or just whatever. The fact that there's this thing out there that is legit, that you can receive value directly from your audience without having to split it with any scumbag who's taking advantage of you or whatever, is just so powerful. And I'm hoping we can, as more people like you and make stuff like this, it becomes clear that this is a legitimate way to go to make cool stuff.
Well, actually, the person who's doing the music for me, his name's Mr. V, and because he's not a Bitcoiner yet, but it's interesting because I paid him money and whatever, and had to use PayPal. It was just such a terrible experience. So much fees. I had to give him all my details, everything like that. It's just like,
Dude.
so even PayPal's the new way to pay, but
I
still
know.
super clunky, super old, still using the old system, but it's not it's not electronic money like Bitcoin and then Lightning and stuff. So
yeah, there's all these totally. Yeah, it's people just I feel like we're still fighting like bad press, unfortunately. Like, it's always even today. Did you see that Bloomberg video that came out with
No, I haven't.
I think it's Cal Penn or somebody being like, just literally being like, proof of work is what's killing the planet. We need cool Ethereum just switched to proof of stake. Why can't Bitcoin do that? I'm like, oh my God. Just like, it's not
the world.
It's God,
instead.
It's never ending, man. It's never ending. It's wild how dedicated people are to spreading terrible information. God. But yeah, like, I think once we just have to hit like some kind of critical mass, I think, and then that kind of stuff just will not factor in any way. I mean, we're getting close. I feel like it's crazy the amount of people who are getting involved. Like, even my mom called me the other day. And she's like, hey, are you still doing that Bitcoin thing? And I was like, yeah, why? And she's like, oh, our bank just announced they're going to start helping people get Bitcoin. And that was enough.
Really?
Yeah, that was enough.
Wow.
That was enough for her to like be like, oh, this is like a real thing. It's not just some crazy internet bullshit.
That's new to me.
I know. Yeah.
My bank tried to not get me to.
Oh, really? Oh my God.
Unfortunately, I lost it all in a boating accident.
Of course, we all did. We were all in that. We all took a cruise together, and just it was a huge, terrible experience.
Like a Titanic,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess they're part of some kind of like local credit union or something. But just like that kind of shocked me. Like, in a small town in upstate New York, some bank is like sending out an email being like, "Hey, you guys should look into this Bitcoin thing." Old boomers.
They must have got in themselves.
Yeah, exactly. trying to pump their bags.
That's right. I did hear that they, not a few months ago or something, they passed the bill that they could hold on their balance sheet. So perhaps they're all getting ready. Now, maybe?
Yeah, I hope so. Like, yeah, it just always feels like we're on this weird precipice that never seems to quite happen. But I guess that's just because
everyone knows it's happening. What's happening with the dollar? It's just, well, not everyone, but most people,
most people feel the effects of it without quite knowing yet. But I think it's becoming harder and harder to kind of hide that stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah, once you like you say, you were saying you knew nothing about finances or anything, or never invested. I was the same, like no education in that whatsoever. I think by design, in our country at least.
Definitely.
Just once you start understanding the money printing, that alone it's a pretty powerful thing, and it's so evil to me that like none of that information is being talked about in any mainstream
That's the scary
coverage.
part. And I used to be a trusting person. I used to trust
Me
the
too.
media. I used to trust governments. But it was funny that Bitcoin made me realize,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
see all the lies very easily once you
Yes.
understand.
Very quickly. It's just it's yeah, I don't know. It's disturbing. I mean, like that's a whole other conversation. Let's talk about cool stuff that we like.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. So let's talk about games in general. I love talking about games, man. What? Clearly, you're a Nintendo guy, judging from your Yoshi's Island 2, and I see Chrono Trigger. I think I see a Minish Cap Link.
Close. Yeah.
What?
I'm actually not a huge fan of the Minish Cap Link. I prefer the actual 3D ones, believe it or not. But and the Game Boy one's also good in the SNES. But yeah, Yoshi's Island.
Amazing.
These two are from Secret of Mana. Which was
Oh yes. Oh, you're right. It is
yeah.
Secret of Mana. You're right.
Yeah,
I got confused by the hair.
I love RPGs. I love Final Fantasy, especially the earlier ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been inspired by a lot of games. I always grew up with a PlayStation and a Sony and a Nintendo consoles, but I think Nintendo has a special heart for me because of, I guess I was younger, and I really love the carts. Like, it's just so nostalgic, and I love pixel art. And they hold up. A lot of them hold up pretty well. I think it's just, if you look at the early 3D games,
Oh man.
some of them really don't hold up well. Like,
Yeah.
you try. I mean, I love Final Fantasy 7, but if you try to introduce anyone to the old school Final Fantasy 7 nowadays, they're like, I can't play this. It's too horrible graphics, So.
Totally. Although I'll say I love this new movement of like 3D inspired by the PS1 style, like that are like a modern take on it.
Yeah.
It's just such a that to me is an exciting development of like 3D being easier to do. I think for the average person, that they're now doing their version of like Ape Escape or whatever. Or I just I do love that as an aesthetic, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Like there's specifically PS1. There were so many games where not only the graphics, but like the controls were so terrible. Like you like
I look at Tomb Raider is so interesting. The way it used to control.
Yeah. It's like it's bizarre. Yeah. It's just like I feel like like Mario 64 for me was the first time where I'm like, oh, this is real life. Like it, like just the way it moved and
felt. It
felt.
up pretty well, I think, because they had flat colors. The PlayStation 1 has a huge, I don't know, just like their edging are very jagged, and I don't know, it's still like I love it still because I grew up with it. But if you try and introduce someone new, it doesn't have that nostalgic factor. It doesn't sit well.
Translate. Yeah. I just bought it's called a Retroid Pocket. Have you heard of these?
Yes, I have actually. Yep.
I
think so.
I bought one maybe like half a year ago at this point, but it's basically like a fairly high-end Android cell phone stuck in a Nintendo Switch form factor. And
I see. Yep, I haven't seen this one yet.
It's pretty sick, man.
It's cool.
Yeah, I actually, speaking of Final Fantasy VII, I'm playing I'm emulating a bunch of stuff, and I'm playing it on there.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's great. Like Shenmue on Dreamcast I've been playing.
Nice.
Yeah. Like it's good. It's worth checking out. Although it sounds like you're pretty serious about the carts, which I respect.
Well, they're just easy to collect. I have some PlayStation ones, but they don't last. Like they're just not made to last. The cases aren't made to last. The CDs are not made to last. The early CDs, so they're not as protected.
Gets scratched to hell so fast.
Yeah.
Man, I do miss having all the old stuff. I basically just gave that all to my little brothers. So they like inherited all my like GameCube down. They inherited everything. My other closest in age brother, he's like goes out of his way to like collect, and he's got like tons of SNES and NES, and the same deal, just like a huge library of carts. And I'm like, oh man, I live in New York City. I don't have any room. I wish I could do it. My wife would kill me. So I'm pretty digital only. but I do miss. You know what I miss is the instruction manuals. I loved.
Well, I'm making one for my game.
Oh, that's sick. But yeah, dude, like that. Like, I've been getting back into comics recently, and just like that, they felt like little comic books in their own way. Like they would have like a little bit of a story. They'd have some cool original art. They'd have the controls. And it just everything was just pleasing to look at in those things.
And it's such a great form factor. You know, you always read it in the car while you're going home.
Totally, yeah. Oh man, yeah. You just gave me a flash of nostalgia. Yeah, it's like the appetizer before you start the main course, dude. It's
the menu,
totally, man. It was like a zine. It's like you say, like it's like a one pager zine. Form factor. It's so satisfying to just flip through, and they always had like the notes sections for like well, I don't know what, like passwords or something. I always felt guilty. I would never write in them. I would just be like, I don't want to ruin it,
because they have extra pages, because the way you print stuff, you need to have a set of 4 pages at once, so they have a couple extra.
They just throw in a couple of lines. That's so funny.
Well, my game is inspired off basically mostly like the you know, Mario for Game Boy, the second one, the coins?
Amazing. 6 golden
Mario
coins.
Land 2. Yeah.
It's one of the best Game Boy games.
Yes. Also a little bit of the one after, which is Wario Land.
Another one of my absolute favorites.
You never expect Wario Land to be good, but that was probably one of my favorite games. Like, I think it's probably even better than the Mario Land 2.
I'd have to agree. Just like the sprites alone and the music are just amazing. Sorry, I keep cutting you off. You're making me excited.
No, that's fine. No, that's good. And then there's a little bit of, I guess I haven't played it, but a little bit like Zelda 2 for the original.
Yeah.
Just because of you've got it's quite story based, as well. So the game is quite linear. You travel, it's very like sort of A to B, but you're going through a story, and I am going to try and make it quite difficult. It's a bit like the Mario, you go from left to right,
Right.
But I will try and put in some extra things and some hidden things, and some extra areas.
Very cool. Yeah, let's talk about this, because you're a little secretive. It's hard to I can't get a sense of what is about to unfold in front of me when I try this out. Is it like?
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
I was just gonna say, what's the level like design style? Are we talking like jump on bad guys' heads, collect coins styles, or go ahead. Yeah. So, or only reveal what you're comfortable revealing, obviously.
Well, I really want to tell everyone everything, but
I know,
I don't want to. I want. It's not going to be a huge game. Like, I'm one developer.
Right.
It'll be a decent, fun. I'm hopefully like sort of filling game that people enjoy, but it's not going to be hours and hours of gaming. So I'm just trying to not let too much out, but at the same time, I'm willing to share the basics. There's so the gameplay is like Mario, where you originally jump on people. So you don't jump on people, you jump on the enemies. So there's safe areas, and there's areas that have enemies, so
gotcha.
Towns and whatnot have people in there you can talk to. They'll have Bitcoiners.
So like Legend of Zelda 2, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's a platformer, and so and there will be I will probably have some things where on my Gaze of Fun page, some rewards where people can put themselves in the game and whatnot. So it'd have to be quite limiting. So I'm going to figure out how to do that, because I don't want to have like just a full amount of people with random Twitter handle names or something like that. So maybe I'll just do an area where they stay or something like that. Anyway, so there'll be different type of enemies. Think how Mario, you've got like walking ones, you've got shooting ones, you've got different speed, you got whatever, so there'll be different type of enemies. And throughout the game you'll get stronger, so you'll have hearts just like you do in Zelda, and then you'll get stuff over time where you get more hearts, and maybe some more skills, and some other weapons. So just be a couple of weapons. So the main weapon of the game is called Sword of Satoshi. So it's a bit of like a Sword of the Stone sort of thing, like so he's sort of
gotcha. The hero of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I try to bring all
Ah,
those nostalgic themes together into this one game, and bring all that the Bitcoin culture together, just to support the industry, get some people known. So it's it's almost like I'm putting also people in there that are supporting the industry as well. So I'm looking to try and put some people in that I think that I really like too. So it's
hmm.
sort of making my own story in a sense. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's really exciting. You're saying everything I want to hear. You're like dropping all these like references that are near and dear to my heart.
Well, I'm just basically making what I
Want to
want to play,
play?
So
Yeah,
I'm just
totally.
hoping other people like it too. So I'm a bit selfish that way, but you know.
That's awesome, man. I are you gonna have bosses? Because there's a
Oh yeah,
lot
so
of you got a lot of
there'll be
you
sort of.
could Christine Lagarde in there. You could have all kinds of weirdos.
Well, I want to be a little bit safe. Like I'm not going to name them
Yeah,
directly, but they will have hints of you'll know who they are.
great.
Um,
That's
but
fun.
there will be sort of 4 areas in the game. So I mean, and you'll go through them. You won't probably really know you've gone to a different area, sort of. But there will be like different. Each area will have sort of a different sort of theme of enemy. So the first one will be shit winners. Second area will be bears. So and then the rest we'll have to find out.
That's
I'm
great.
sort of still not exactly 100% on the third one. I've sort of got
Mm.
an idea that I've written a script and everything, but I've actually done pretty much all the levels. So all the backgrounds for all the levels are almost done, like nearly done. Um, and yeah, so hero basically journeys to get this weapon to defeat the main bad guys who are the bankers. And yeah, so and he meets all the famous Bitcoiners, and also he will meet President Bukele because he's the one that invited him to El Salvador
That's great.
because to basically get rid of all the crap for Bitcoin adoption. Yeah. I have
Dude.
done a reading of the intro of the game.
Yes, I watched that. I think that was on your YouTube, yeah?
Yeah, YouTube, and I just also released it on Twitter.
Oh, cool.
Just yesterday.
Very cool. Yeah,
Just a
man.
short version. The full version's on YouTube.
Are you going to start doing devlogs? Is that the idea?
Yeah, I might do some. I've got a demo coming out soon. That it will be a cut, so it will be for sale for those who want to see it. But I will probably once that's released and given to the people that purchase, because they can help support me, whatever. And then I'll probably after that I'll start doing some talk about that demo and what I've done and how I've done it and all that sort of thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give people a little leeway that when they get the demo, they're seeing it sort of for a lot of areas for the first time.
Totally.
Not just me telling you everything and then getting it after. So I don't have to play. I just saw the whole thing on.
Yeah, totally. You gotta entice the
You gotta be
people.
strategic a little bit. That's
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to ruin it for everyone too. You want them to experience
Totally.
it themselves.
At the end of the day, you're in the entertainment business, baby. You got to entertain. You can't just give it all away
Yeah.
for free.
That's right. Like where do you see a game developer making a game and just playing the whole thing and showing you before they release it?
This is true.
I'd love to do it, honestly, but
Oh yeah, totally.
it's not a good business model.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, that's really cool, man. That's very inspiring. It's a good thing to think about. Like, what skills do you have to bring to the space and like and encourage people, inspire people, and inform people? Because the more people we get involved, the better. I say, like, it makes me a little sad. Like, there's so many people, especially like here in New York. There's just so many people of like a particular like kind of mindset that are just so not in at all. Like, they're so like not even not in, but like against. And it's like, no, you gotta let me help you. I'm telling you, this is good. It's not bad. Oh my
Same
god.
in Australia here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't get it, man. I really don't. But we just gotta like make cool stuff and hope that comes along. I mean,
Make cool stuff and they'll come.
yeah, man. I really believe that. I keep thinking like what would be some kind of some kind of bridge entertainment, or something where it's like it like tricks these like normies into like get like checking out Bitcoin, like almost like I guess it's like almost like a religious like when like the youth group at a church like, hey, you want to come over and play Halo, and then they're like, hey, actually, you want to know about Jesus? Like, I don't know, what's the Bitcoiner version of like, here's a cool thing, and also here's a little bit about Bitcoin, you should check it out. Like,
that's right. I think it's really subtle because I think that I always believe that, like, and you probably know this already because whenever you try to tell someone, they just don't really fully listen. Everyone has to have their own journey.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I'm really trying to promote the whole hero thing. Like, people think, oh, I can't do anything because of these. That's like, people get misinterpreted when I talk about, when I say, oh, everyone's a hero or whatever. Everyone can be a hero. That, they think, oh, I'm just talking about the people at the top. No, I'm talking about people at the low spectrum that just like, they've got a skill, they just don't realize that they can turn that into something where they can bring people. It doesn't, like, even if you don't have a skill, like, it doesn't, there's so many things that you could do. Like, I just have so many ideas. I'm like, man, I should really just tell people to make these things because I think they'll do well, like, for example, I think, yeah, actually, I can't really think right now, but but there's just so many. Like, I just have so many ideas. I'm like, I've got to focus on what I'm doing.
Yeah, so. I'm the same way. I've got all kinds of crazy ideas, and it's like, well, 20 like 10% finished things is not a good strategy. That's for sure. That's right. Yeah. Very cool. Well, that's really inspiring, man. I'm happy you're doing that. Yeah, that's a good. It's good. I think we're gonna see more and more of this as more people get involved, more non-finance folks. No hate to the finance people. They're amazing, and they've helped me understand things. They're also just great educators, is really what it comes down to. Like Max Kaiser is able to explain things in a kind of a fuck you sort of normal kind of person way that is very, very helpful for someone like me. And they are desperately needed. But we need to get these people who think like finances are evil or something, and they're like creative types. We need to figure out how to get them too. And I think
it's risky, but they don't realize what they're in already is risky. I know. Being in fiat in the bank is risky.
Yeah, unfortunately, I guess you got to be burned before you can you realize maybe. But
yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, at least here, like now with like the inflation, at the very least, people are starting to like even talk about money in that kind of a way, like being like, what the hell? Like everything is too expensive. What is going on? Like, now's the time to be like, well, I can kind of explain it a little if you want to hear, and here's my strategy.
Don't you hate hearing those things? I'm just like, I want to say something, but you just know, you don't want to be that person that's trying to push something onto someone.
I know. That's what sucks too. Is like, it sounds like you're like, God, yeah. It sounds like you're like, yeah, and if you buy, I'll make a little bit. And it's just like, no, man. It's not even. There's just like no way your $50, if you actually had the balls to do that, will do anything for me. So
right.
It's like, come on.
I do now. I just say like someone will say, oh, house prices are going up so much now, and food price. I always say, like, what if it's not the price of food that's going up? What if it's your money that's devaluing and going down?
Yeah.
I just say like that, but sort of they're just
Yeah.
I just try and drop those little hint things. I hope someone sort of sticks.
That is good. Do you find like in Australia, is it like real estate where everyone like thinks they're making money, but it's just like like you're saying, the dollar, like, is that where everyone keeps their wealth like they do in America?
Yeah. So our house market is even more crazy than yours, I think. I guess it depends which area, but it's just crazy here, and the government just keeps giving more basically stimulus into that sector.
Really?
It just makes the problem worse. It's a joke. And we got so much land here, like, we got we got a lot of space.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. So,
man.
Yeah, I don't even have a house yet. So.
Yeah, no, same, man. I'm in New York City. I'm never getting a house. Like I'm hoping, like, next halving, maybe we can buy us a little patch of land somewhere 10 hours away.
That's it.
Oh man. Yeah, the real estate thing is dark. Go ahead.
I know, but it's not just in the Western countries. It's everywhere. Like,
No.
I've been to other countries, talking to other people there. Same deal. It's all over. It's internationally. House prices going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
a few places.
I don't think people realize how rich the rich people are and how not rich we are. Like, I don't think people realize the disparity amount is so insane, and it's so depressing to me. Like, here, the people who are on the left, they were kind of on board with people on the right for during this Occupy Wall Street movement. There was like this movement we had where everyone was just kind of like, finally, like, we're just regular people. It doesn't matter who we voted for or what we believe in. We're getting screwed and they're not. Like, let's focus our attention and energy on that. And then that just got derailed so fast. It's like amazing how they did it. It's just like
that up quick, didn't they?
Oh man, dude. And that's just how you see how the media is like, you see what the team they're on. It's so dark. Yeah. And now,
Control.
Oh yeah,
we have the same problem here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we Rupert Murdoch infected you guys too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're all on the same team, man.
We're the testing grounds for you guys, I think.
Oh God. Well, for that I apologize with my whole heart. There's just so much weird stuff going on with Western democracy type countries right now, where it's like, what is happening? What are the evil plans being unfurled before our eyes right now? Yeah,
but it is the system's fault. Like, it doesn't matter what country. If any country had control like that and had that same system, it would probably the same thing happening.
Devolve into that. Yeah, man. It just feels like paranoid clutching at power. Like they're not saying it, but they see the writing on the wall, just like we do.
They're also clutching at life because they're all nearly 80 or whatever.
Yeah, seriously. They thought they were going to be heads in tanks living forever by now, and they're pissed.
Yeah.
Man, man. Yeah, let's move on from those creeps and continue to celebrate the cool stuff that Bitcoiners are making, like yourself.
Well, I will tell you one more thing about my game.
Yeah, please.
These are sort of things that have been sort of revealed already, but some of your viewers might not have.
No, yeah, I'm all ears.
You will be able to meet Sailor in there, and you will be able to visit his boat. So that sort of stuff is going to be really fun. And the fun thing is, like, I wrote a script a while ago, and he speaks almost entirely using his real quotes, and they just perfectly fit into the game. Like, it's just so funny. Like
that's
whenever
amazing.
I read it, I chuckle a bit.
He does have a very like this is your destiny kind of like way of talking about Bitcoin. So yeah, that would totally fit.
Oh, there's another thing that you'll be interested in. So when you you heal by going into hotels or inns or whatnot. And because El Salvador is such a busy place, because of Bitcoin, all the hotels are full. But they say that you can chill in their lounge.
Mm.
And so you actually go and heal on their couches by listening to podcasts. So I'm trying to figure out how to do like a setup where you could, whenever you go and heal, a random Bitcoin podcast name comes up. So
that's great.
I'll see if I can put yours in there. So it's one of the ones that comes up.
That's amazing. I appreciate that. That's an honor. I will be there day one for Hero of Bitcoin. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up here?
I just want to say, check out my Gazer page. I will having a demo cart coming soon. I apologize if it's too expensive for some people. It's just that it is quite expensive to
make anything physical.
Chips, make the
Dude.
cards. Like they'll just be card only for the demo. It won't have a box like the final, but getting it shipped here, all the different things that get shipped here, and then sending it out, to anyone internationally. So yeah, I haven't quite figured out how much that's going to cost me first, but anyway, there will be other ways. The game will eventually be free, so I will release it, but I will give it a while, a year or so after the release, but because I want everyone to enjoy it at the end of the day, because it is a culture, so I want to give back to the community. So
Totally.
I mean, I'm not expecting everyone to play it on the carts. It's almost just like something you can put on your shelf as well. Which a lot of Bitcoiners love, like displaying things. I got actually so many things here. I got a lot in my closet too, but I've got little. This is
cool.
like a Bitcoin themed card done by Laser Eyes. And
nice.
when it's like you can swipe it on as a tap it to pay in Bitcoin in any card, and
that's
it lights
amazing.
Up, the eyes light up.
That's so sick.
So cool. Like he came. Laser Eyes guy came and reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do some art for it. So that's
very cool.
I've got Max's book of what do I got here? For the Book of Max here.
Oh, nice.
I've got the Bitcoin standard, the fiat standard. I've got a bunch more stuff, but I won't go into them. But
that's another. Speaking of just like making stuff, it is important to make physical things in the real world. I think are powerful, I think it's cool that. Exactly. And the fact that you're making an actual cart is pretty awesome. I'll get in on that action as well. I'm my version of this is like I want to make a zine, which with sort of subtly orange pilling people. Hopefully, I'm gonna try and get New York City normies to like just at least read a paragraph that is a positive.
Is it going to be an online thing, or are you going to make it physical?
I think I'm going to do a physical and online, and
nice.
And do the physical for I'll probably just hand it out, to be honest. But like physical for maybe some cash, and then online I think I'll do free value for value model. If you like it, send me some value. That I think is powerful. And so
the great thing about you can just put your Lightning QR code, whatever, on everything.
Exactly.
Like, you'd be surprised people that will just send you sats, as we spoke about before.
Yeah, man, it's very cool. It's very, very cool. Awesome. Well, it was very fun talking to you, man. Let's talk again when you got some news to get out there, and we'll get you some sales, bro. Got to support Bitcoiners making cool stuff. It's very important.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Always appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. I'll be in touch soon. How's that?
No worries.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Have a great night.
All right. Thanks, guys.